Hey, here we are again, an update on the old Seaforth kilt. Another example of um, recycling done right. This is I'm tailoring this. I'm altering this to fit the grandson of the original owner who'd bought it in 1941 in Edinburgh. And it's interesting. I've taken the lining off, and I find the sort of canvas I expect to see. And I'm not going to criticize it because this has lasted almost 80 years, right? The pleats are failing, but because the canvas has come away. So the canvas, because again, as I've said many times before, the canvas is the structural part of this. These fell seams are not strong in tension. As we can see, they're coming apart. But what I found was interesting. The thread all seems to be, it's all natural, of course, from 1941. I look at these brown threads and I wonder if they're originally black, because black is a hard color to get right, which is why many cloth houses, they won't call their cloth black, they'll call it Oxford gray, because when it eventually lightens up a bit, people get upset and says, well, we didn't actually call it black, did we? Anyhow, so here we are. This is the top band that I put on wrong. This is the original top band. I'd covered it with a new silk or satin top band back in the 90s or so. And it's interesting to see how wide the original top band is, because army kilts are very narrow, but this would have been made by a civilian contractor. The army kilt top bands are quite narrow indeed, but it's a bit wide. And it's interesting because it looks like it's been cut rather than torn. The inside apron, did somebody have dull scissors? It's kind of a hack job, right? What's interesting is, I mean, the fell is beautifully done, but what's interesting is under this top canvas, which really doesn't do much, we have the Holland, the treated canvas. I have to ask check out to see exactly what it's treated with, because it looks like it's been enameled or lacquered, almost. That's what it feels like. So we have this between the two buckles, and it's connected. So technically they've got it right in that we have the continuous strip from buckle to strap, but in two pieces, because as I've seen many times from this contract, there were about 20 odd of these kilts, all bought at the same time by members of the regiment, the 1st Battalion anyway. So yeah, so they have a deep pleat for the inside apron, but they folded it towards the pleats rather than that way, which is how I was always trained to do it, and which I will probably do it in future. I'm gonna play with it a little bit to see if it drapes better hung this way, because I don't know, I don't understand at this point why they folded it in this direction. So I'm gonna try it a couple of times to see if I can find if my way of doing business is actually superior to theirs, if it has any advantages at all. And otherwise I might just keep it the way they did it. This makes it a little harder to press though. What I find interesting is that, once again, very clumsily cut, especially the strap. I mean, this is a selvage edge. This is the edge as it came off the loom, right? It's got integrity, but this edge is all over the map. So I don't know, was this given to some junior apprentice to cut? I don't know. In any case, yeah. So this, and the stitching, it took me a long time to get this apart, because this silk thread has, well, okay, it broke, but it's really held up for 80 plus years. So I'm going to get all of this out. I'm going to repair all of these, because again, if one's going, there's another one going, right? And frankly, I'm not going to pull them all apart. Okay, there's another one going, right? I'm not going to tear these down. Okay, there's another one going. I think what I will do is, with fine silk thread, I'll do an overcast seam which reinforces the existing seam, rather than pull that seam apart and then sew it up again. I'll do a new seam over top of it. Well, that's the buttonhole I did 20 odd years ago. We'll see if I can disassemble that without hurting the cloth. Okay, so there we go. This is interesting. This is like forensic archaeology with kilts. So yeah, and then of course I'll restore the pleats and all the rest of it. So I'll check in again when I got something meaningful, or I hope I have something meaningful to say. Cheers.